As much as I loved this truck the day I picked it up, I think I love it more now. Welcome back, guys, to No Redemption Outdoors, and here we are in the car wash today, taking the Duramax out for a bath. And I figured, what the heck, I'm going to start this review video. You know, I've had this vehicle now for 3 months, and I just crossed over the 3,000 mile marker. And I thought, well, this is a good time to do a more in-depth review with better feedback now that I've had it a while. So I'm going to link up above the video that I made initially when I first picked up this truck. And I literally made that video within a few days of getting the truck. Now it's 3 months later, and I want to share with you some of my impressions. And let me begin by saying that as much as I loved this truck the day I picked it up, I think I love it more now. And I didn't know that that would be possible because I'm just not emotional about vehicles, but I really do like this truck. I love the Duramax engine. I love this transmission, this 10-speed transmission, smooth as can be. And how can you argue with the mileage? My goodness, I've had this vehicle 3,000 miles now, and my lifetime mileage average is over 24 miles to the gallon. Now, out there among my viewers, there are a few of you who are either active duty police or perhaps retired police. So what I'm about to say, I need you to ignore or block your ears. But I am a habitual speeder. Pardon me 1 second.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. You have a great day.
You too. All right, so they're going to take care of that. But I'm a habitual speeder, and there's a little bit of confusion going on here. And I lay into this pedal hard. And that I'm pulling 24 miles a gallon on average lifetime the way that I drive, that is, that's pretty good. So, by the way, I apologize for that distraction. All right, that's better. I decided to pause the camera and get, you know, out of all that congestion and craziness, so I wouldn't be distracted while driving, and then restart the video. So, carrying on, I want to run through for you some of my likes and dislikes about the truck at 3,000 miles. I can tell you that I have to work hard to find the things that I don't like. So I'll start with that. First off, I've had basically no mechanical issues with the truck whatsoever, save for one item. I have on the passenger side, the retractable mirror intermittently malfunctions. I'm assuming that's because there's a missing tooth or something in the gear, so 90% of the time it works, but clearly I'm going to have to take it in for some warranty work here pretty soon. But mechanically, other than that, it's been utterly perfect. Now, another thing I don't like, especially, I'm not especially fond of, is the ergonomics in the truck. And I can tell you that they have changed the layout of the dash and the various controls from the prior generation. I had the 17, the prior generation, and they've changed it up, and it is not intuitive. I beg to differ. If folks think it's intuitive, then there's something wrong with me, because I just don't find it to be nearly as intuitive as my previous vehicle. And then add to that there are so many buttons in here and so many controls, and the print on the button is so small, I have to put my glasses on to see it. So I'm not familiar with the layout, and I have to use glasses to read it. And frankly, I think anytime that you can't find operational controls on the vehicle without having to take your eye off the road, I find that to be an ergonomic fail. What good is it to have these fantastic things if you're looking at it while you're driving, you get in a crash? And so, again, that's a minor complaint. Most people would say, well, that's not a complaint at all. But I mean, genuinely, if you put your glasses on to operate the things inside the truck, that's not optimal. And I would urge GM to maybe have their engineers, when they're doing these designs, maybe they do this, I don't know, but have them literally impair their vision the way that people who have to use reading glasses have to experience these trucks. I think that would be a useful exercise. Now, on to the things I like, because quite literally that is the length of my dislike list. The things I like. I think I mentioned the gas mileage, but let me elaborate. I have lifetime average of 24.3 miles to the gallon over the course of 3,000 miles, and I think you may have heard me mention in the car wash that I'm a bit of a habitual speeder. And so I guarantee you, in my other truck, I was probably getting 11 or 12 miles a gallon, and on average, I'm guessing maybe a little better, but not much. So this is remarkable. To drive by all those gas stations and just wave as I go by, that's a great feeling. Now, add to that the power out of this engine is comparable or maybe better. Probably better than my V8 was. Without question, the lag time in the acceleration is gone. That's an improvement over my previous truck. The acceleration, I'm going to say it again, it may even be better than my V8. The torque and the towability of this truck is just, well, it blows away the V8, I'm sorry. My other truck was not as capable a towing vehicle as this one is. So, again, I'm getting more power, more functionality, better gas mileage. This is a winning combination as far as I'm concerned. So, to say that I love this engine is just an understatement. Now, let me comment about one thing. I know there's a lot of discussion about two major things so far that I'm aware of. One, people are displeased about the configuration of the oil pump belt. I think that I'm saying that correctly. That is on the back of the engine, and it has a lifespan of 150,000 service miles, which requires then to drop the transmission and go through various gyrations to get in there and change it. And a lot of folks dislike the fact that it's not a chain. So I guess time will tell on that. I don't know how many vehicles have reached the 150,000 mile mark at this point, but you know, it's going to be probably a couple of years till you see any significant feedback as to whether that indeed turned out to be an issue like people were concerned. The other issue that I've become aware of is that some folks have had overheating problems, and this truck does tend to run, its operating temperature tends to be a little higher. My experience has been it consistently runs around 210, 212 degrees, and I mean consistently. And that's whether I'm out on the freeway, that's whether I'm in town, and it doesn't seem to have it's not a problem. It doesn't create any issues. I don't get any check engines, nothing. And I know some folks have, and so I can't account for that. I don't know what that's about. But from what I've been able to learn, gather, that 210 degrees is not a concern. It's, I think, somewhat engineered that way. I will say that I do agree with those who contend that'll affect longevity of the engine. I could see that argument. But for me, I'm not going to have this vehicle, you know, long enough to ever have an issue there. I don't think. I'll have gotten rid of it, you know, at 36,000 miles. I don't think I'll ever have an issue. And so far, I'm going to tell you, I've had zero problems. So for those of you who have had mechanical problems or overheating problems, this and that, you know, I'm always sorry to hear about that, but I do count my blessings in that I never have that issue. And so, you know, engine and transmission, let me talk about the transmission. This 10-speed is amazing. I don't know if it's an Allison. I'm going to have to check to be sure, so I don't want to misstate it. But I love this transmission. First off, you never feel it shifting. I hear it shifting, but I never feel it shifting. And like I say, you know, once you get up to cruising speed, this thing just, right now I'm sitting about 1,300 RPM, and that's pretty typical. I think it runs, slightly higher out on the freeway, but maybe 1,800 RPM, something like that. I'm gonna have to pay closer attention. But as a consequence, between that transmission, which is so smooth, the engine, which is so smooth, this is a drive-by-wire. The pedal is a drive-by-wire, I guess. So there's no actual linkage to the engine. So I don't get any vibration or feedback in the pedal. So you add that into the mix. There's no vibration or feedback coming through the pedals. This transmission is smooth. This engine is balanced and smooth. What does that amount to is a vehicle that just glides. I kid you not. I feel like I'm floating on a cloud when I'm just going down the road. It's the most bizarre thing. And as a consequence, my habitual speeding tendencies have gotten worse because I'm not really aware of how fast I'm going. It's just smooth. Now, carrying on, I've now had a chance to tow with it. I have towed my boat, which isn't especially heavy. It's just my tracker bass boat, link above. So it's what, 2,000-3,000 pounds, I don't know. So not real heavy. I don't think that's the tongue weight either. I think that's the whole overall weight. I don't know what the tongue weight is, but this thing pulled it like it wasn't even there. I haven't hooked up to a real heavy trailer yet, but I have seen some videos and I've seen some of the results, and I have nothing in my experience to refute any of the experience of those I've seen. I imagine that I would have the same outcome. So yeah, the engine and transmission is fantastic. Now let me go to some of the features. This truck came equipped with a lot of features that I didn't have on my other truck. Some of these features are new, by the way, to the lineup. One of them that's fairly new is the adaptive cruise control, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, again, this is the first year, maybe, or the second year that it's been available on a Silverado. My goodness, guys, that is a phenomenal thing, that adaptive cruise control. It works as advertised, too. So I go out on the freeway and I set it, let's say I set it to 75. And if I come up on a car that's going slower, it'll slow down, and to the point where it might even I haven't tested it and I don't plan to, but I believe that it would stop the vehicle on its own. I do believe that. However, I will not verify it. But I like that adaptive cruise control. Now, lane assist, you can keep that. I don't care about that. I have observed that it's more annoying than anything for me. What it does is, if you start to drift one side or the other, first thing it'll do is vibrate your seat. Depending on which side you're drifting towards, it'll vibrate that side of the seat. But if you don't correct, then it will correct for you. Now, my testing of it is it overcorrects. And then you start ping-ponging back and forth a little bit. Hold on, I gotta pass the mail lady. Again, my habitual speed. Proof positive. So, the lane assist, well, you can have that. I love the tow mode and the various other modes, speed mode, the off-road. I've played around with it a little bit. I'm not sure it's something I would pay extra for again, but I like it. But for the most part, I don't use it. I'm kind of looking around at the different things. The Bose stereo's been great. The Android hookup, and I forget what they call it. Android, gosh almighty, I apologize, I forget what they call it, but that's been fantastic. I like that. Navigation, I've got navigation on this truck, and I didn't have navigation on my other truck, and again, I always use my phone, but I actually like the navigation that's built into the truck, so I like that. The climate control, again, works as advertised. Again, I'm not fond of the ergonomics of the various styles and controls. But, guys, at this point, I'm just basically repeating myself over and over. I love this truck. I can genuinely say to you that I recommend this truck. If you're interested in buying one of these trucks, at this point, I would recommend it. Now, my plan is at the 6-month mark, which should be give or take 5,000 to 6,000 miles. I will do yet another review, but this time I will do a very in-depth, where I go around the truck inside and out and really dig into, after 6 months and 6,000 miles, what have I broken? What do I still like or not like? Will have my opinions changed. But though, so far, if you're thinking about buying one of these trucks, I do recommend it. And if you happen to live in my area, in Southeast Michigan, check out Bowman Chevrolet. That's where I bought my truck. Go see Dom and tell him I sent you. I do not get any endorsement. I have no endorsement deal with them. I'm not, they're not a sponsor. It's strictly unsolicited. They treated me great, and I recommend you head over there if you're interested in picking up a vehicle. I imagine if you don't even have to live around here. These days you can buy vehicles online, so check them out. And with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm just rambling at this point. And I wanted to shoot something off quick just to give a quick update on the status of the truck. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Please drop down below and like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Although I always wonder why people say that. What did that like button ever do to you? But smash it. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up and say, until we meet again, take care.
Jag är somalier och jag rappar mina rätter, ey. 15 000, det är bara mina fötter, ey. Jag är somalier, rappar Malaysia. Jag är somalier och jag rappar mina rötter, ey. 15 000, det är bara mina fötter, ey. Jag är somalier, rappar Malaysia.